Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we explore the world's most influential texts. We strip away the jargon and get right to the core insights.
And today, we're really immersing ourselves in a big one.
A huge one. Eckhart Tolle's The Power of Now. This book really defined a whole generation of spiritual searching.
It absolutely did. And what's so interesting about it, is how it came to be. It wasn't some formal academic work. It actually grew out of spontaneous answers he was giving to people in seminars, in counseling sessions.
So it has that Q&A feel.
Exactly. It feels more like a direct conversation with you, the listener, not a dry lecture.
Okay, so our mission today is to pull out the operating manual that Tolle provides. What are the actual mechanics he lays out for, achieving real inner freedom?
And he starts with such a powerful idea.
The idea that many of us are living as spiritual beggars.
That analogy is just so crucial. He says we spend our lives looking outside ourselves for these little scraps of fulfillment, of security, of love.
Yeah.
When all along we have this infinite treasure within.
And that treasure, that state of being, is accessible right now.
Right now. The whole point is that the transformation isn't about the future. It's about a really profound shift in your consciousness. It's about freeing yourself from being a slave to that machine in your head.
Okay, let's unpack that. The core delusion, because this is where his whole system really begins. Tolle's main point is that the biggest obstacle to finding that treasure is the belief that you are your mind.
Right. And the mind is an amazing instrument. It's a fantastic tool for, math or building something or analyzing data. But the problem isn't the tool.
The problem is that the tool is using us.
Exactly. And when that happens, when thinking becomes compulsive, involuntary, he actually calls it a disease.
A disease, that's a strong word.
It is, but he means it's out of balance. Think about cells in the body. Cell division is healthy, right? But when it becomes compulsive, when it ignores the whole organism, you get illness. Compulsive thinking is like that.
So how do you know if you have it?
Well, he gives you a really simple test. Can you find the off button? If you can't consciously choose to just stop that internal voice, the one that's always judging and worrying, then you aren't the master. The mind is. You're its slave.
But wait a second. If we're trying to be present, doesn't that mean we have to be highly aware? Like in a deep dive like this, the goal is to process information. Are we trying to just stop thinking?
That's such a crucial distinction. No. The goal is absolutely not to become brain dead or, stop planning your day. The goal is to stop believing that that voice is you.
It's about shifting from identification to observation.
Yes. The second you mistake the mind for who you are, you create what he calls an opaque screen.
The screen of concepts, all the labels.
All the labels, the judgments, the images from your past. And that screen, it blocks any kind of true relationship with others, with yourself. It creates this profound illusion that you're separate from everything else.
And that's where fear comes from.
That's the source of almost all fear and conflict. It's really interesting how he breaks down the mind's limits here, too.
Yeah.
We tend to think the most intelligent people are the most creative.
Right.
But the mind, in its sort of default mode, is a survival machine. It's great at attack, defense, strategy. It analyzes the past to survive the future.
Yeah.
But he is very firm on this. It is not creative.
So if creativity doesn't come from just thinking harder, where does it come from?
It comes from mental quietude, from no mind. If you actually look at the stories of great artists, or even scientists like Einstein, that big creative leap, the aha moment, it never happens when they're grinding away at a problem.
It happens when they're taking a walk.
Or taking a bath, or just resting. The thinking mind then comes in and acts like a scribe. It gives structure to that formless impulse. He argues that the reason so many smart people aren't truly creative is because they just can't stop thinking.
Okay, so that realization that we need to get beyond just thought, that brings us to enlightenment.
And Tolle, he keeps this definition really grounded. He uses the Buddhist simple version. Enlightenment is the end of suffering.
Which is honestly such a relief to hear. It's not some mystical thing for monks on a mountain. It's just returning to your natural state, finding who you are beyond the name and the form.
Exactly. And the first step is just realizing you are not the thinker. That creates the space for you to become the observer, the witness.
And the practice he suggests is watching the thinker.
So simple, but revolutionary.
We've all had this experience, right? You catch yourself listening to that voice in your head, the one that's always worrying or criticizing. The moment you become the witness, you stop identifying with the content. You realize, wait, that's just a thought. It's not me.
And that observation, that's the key. Because every time you create even a little gap in that stream of thought, He says the light of your consciousness grows stronger.
And it's important to say that this isn't some kind of trance state.
Not at all. It's a state of being highly alert, very awake.
This also leads to a really important distinction he makes. The one between emotions from the mind and these deeper states of being. We all chase pleasure thinking it's joy.
But they're fundamentally different things. Emotions are part of the mind, so they're subject to the law of opposites. If you feel pleasure, suffering is its shadow.
So the more intense the pleasure, the more intense the potential pain on the other side.
Right. A great meal, winning the lottery. It will always swing to its opposite. Disappointment, craving, pain. Pleasure always comes from something external.
But joy, peace, true love, those are different.
They're aspects of being itself. They arise from within, and they have no opposite.
Yeah.
You can feel joy just watching a sunset, regardless of what's happening in your life. It's not dependent on conditions. True love is the same. It's not an addictive craving. It's a realization of oneness.
Okay, so if the mind creates suffering, we have to talk about where that suffering gets stored. And this brings us to the pain body.
The pain body, yeah. This is the accumulation of all your past emotional pain, trauma, suffering from childhood. It's like this dense negative energy field that lives in your mind and your body. And it wants to survive.
But how does an entity like that survive if it's just old misery?
Pain can only feed on pain. So the pain body survives by forcing you into unconscious identification with it. It makes you seek out experiences that match its frequency.
So it creates more drama, more anger, more grief.
Yes. When the pain body is active, it manufactures those things. You see it in road rage or in someone who just has to pick a fight every weekend. The pain body is demanding its food. It can't stand joy or peace. It needs pain to survive.
It sounds like a phantom that you have to starve.
It is. It's an insubstantial phantom that is terrified of the light of your consciousness. And the way you dissolve it is, it's deceptively simple. The moment you just observe it, the moment you feel its energy field inside you and bring your attention to it, that's presence, the identification is broken.
You become the watcher.
You become the watcher, not the thing being watched. And the pain body can no longer use you to get its food.
So if the pain body is suffering from the past, the mind's other weapon is projecting suffering into the future. That's psychological fear.
Now, we have to be really clear about the difference here. There's the instinctive response to danger, which is healthy. You see a car coming, you jump back.
Of course.
But psychological fear, chronic unease, anxiety, worry, that's always about something that might happen 5 minutes from now or 5 years from now. It's completely divorced from any immediate, real danger.
And that creates what he calls the anxiety gap.
Exactly. Your mind is in the future, but your body's in the present. And that gap becomes your constant reality. Tolle says you can always cope with the present moment. You can act or you can accept it. But you can't possibly cope with a mind projection of the future. It doesn't exist.
And when that future projection becomes a collective thing, he calls it psychological time and argues it leads to collective insanity.
It's the belief that happiness or salvation is just around the corner, in the future. And that's so dangerous because it justifies anything in the present. Think about certain collective ideologies like communism. They promise this future heaven, this perfect state.
Which justifies creating a present hell to get there.
Precisely. The, 50 million people who were killed for the cause of a future communist utopia? It's a chilling example of what happens when you lose touch with the only moment that's real.
So given how relentless the mind is, Tolle talks about needing portals to access being. And one of the main ones is the body itself.
Which is so counter to a lot of older spiritual traditions, right?
Yeah.
Where the body is something to be transcended.
Right, it's a burden.
But Tolle flips that. He emphasizes body awareness, actually feeling the inner energy field that gives your physical form life.
And that simple act anchors you in the now.
Instantly.
Yeah.
It's immediate, you can't deny it, and it pulls your consciousness right out of compulsive thinking. Transformation happens through the body, not by getting away from it.
Okay, but how does this work in a practical sense? Say you're at work, you have a complex problem to solve. You can't just stop thinking.
No, and this is where you learn the creative use of mind. You practice oscillating. You move between active thought and stillness. So you might focus on the problem for a few minutes, then consciously shift your attention to your inner body, just for 30 seconds.
Think with your whole body.
That's the phrase he uses.
Yeah.
You connect your brain back to that deeper field of consciousness. It keeps the thought process from becoming barren or reactive.
This shift in consciousness has huge implications for relationships. He says something that, it flies in the face of everything we're told. Relationships are not here to make you happy. They're here to make you conscious.
It's a radical idea, isn't it? We
Yeah.
go into relationships with this deep internal lack, and we expect our partner to fill that hole, to make us whole. He calls them addictive
And of
relationships.
course, the partner can't do that.
No person can.
Yeah.
So when they inevitably fail to meet the ego's impossible demands, that internal pain, often the pain body, it just comes roaring back.
Yeah.
And you project it onto your partner. You attack them.
So our unconscious search for happiness just leads to misery.
In many cases, yes. True love, he says, is a state of being. It's not something you get from someone else. It's an awareness of the one life within you and all things. When you can relate from that place of fullness instead of neediness, that's when a true relationship can happen.
Okay, finally, let's talk about the ultimate practice for staying in the now, which is surrender. People hear that word and they think fatalism, passivity.
Right, giving up. But that's not what he means at all. Fatalism is resignation with an inner grudge. Surrender is accepting the present moment as if you had chosen it.
You work with the now, not against it.
And that instantly frees you from resistance, from the mind's dominance.
So what if the present moment is truly awful or dangerous?
You ask yourself a simple question. Is there anything I can do now? If the answer is yes, you take clear, non-reactive action. Action that comes from awareness, not from anger.
And if the answer is no?
If the answer is no, if you're in a traffic jam or dealing with an illness, then you use that situation to deepen your surrender. That act of acceptance transforms you, and it lets you access a strength that is just impervious to the external conditions.
So if we were to summarize this entire deep dive, the blueprint is pretty clear. You learn to disidentify from the mind. You eliminate psychological time by letting go of the past and future. And you anchor yourself in the present.
Using your inner body as the main portal. That's the only place real change can ever happen.
And if you keep seeking fulfillment in the future, you're basically guaranteeing you'll never be satisfied.
You're guaranteeing permanent dissatisfaction because you're always devaluing the only moment that actually exists.
So instead of striving, you shift to being.
Exactly. True prosperity isn't what's in your bank account. It's a state of consciousness. It's when you fully acknowledge and accept your present reality, who you are, where you are right now. That deep gratitude for the fullness of life now. That is true prosperity.
This whole idea of letting go of the time-bound, false self, the ego, it's a powerful one.
It is. It's often compared to a death. That's why you hear in ancient wisdom traditions, the secret of life is to die before you die.
Die to the full thing.
You find your real invulnerability not by defending the ego, not by resisting life, but by letting go of that resistance. The formless presence that you really are, it's available right now, the moment you stop looking for it somewhere else. And that is the profound light shining through this entire book.